Sneaking vegetables into my family's dinners has been a pastime of mine for many years. And this is one of my favorites. This is a cauliflower Alfredo that we're going to make today. So I need a head and a half of cauliflower chopped up into pieces about like this. So I already chopped one. Now I'm going to go with the second one. And I can save half of the head for later. And really what I want to do is get rid of all the greenery, the leaves that are on it. And then just kind of cube it. I don't need to cut it into individual florets. It doesn't have to be fancy because we're going to boil them. So just enough that they will boil evenly. Then I have this fancy cutting board my brother-in-law bought me. And you can scrape everything into these little bowls. And so you don't waste anything. Anyway, we're going to put those in our big container, and then we're going to be at the stove to boil it. So I have a pot of boiling water on the stove, and I'm going to gently add my cauliflower to it. I try to use a spoon to slide it into the water, because if I don't, it splashes back up and I get burnt. So I gently slide into the water. We are going to boil this for about 8 minutes. Put the lid on and let it go. While that's boiling, I'm going to saute my garlic. So I have my pot on, or my saute pan on the stove. It's over medium heat. I have 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And I'm going to add to that a tablespoon of minced garlic, or 6 cloves. I buy my garlic already minced. And we want to keep this just until it's fragrant and soft. Don't want to brown it. And if you don't have minced garlic, you can just add garlic powder to your final. About a teaspoon of garlic powder will do the trick when you're making the sauce. This is just going to take a minute or two. In the meantime, I'm going to set my timer for my cauliflower. I'm going to turn the heat down just a little because it's starting to brown too quickly, or starting to turn brown, and I just want it soft. Alright, it's perfectly soft, so now I'm just going to turn the heat off, wait for our cauliflower to finish boiling, and then we'll be at the table. So at 8 minutes I pulled the cauliflower off, and I looked at it. I wanted to see if it was fork tender. That means I can prick it with a fork and it goes straight through. It was not, so we put it on for another 5 minutes. So it was 13 minutes total is what it took. But you want it to be soft enough that a fork goes right through it without getting stuck in any way. Now we're going to strain it out and put it in our blender. I'm going to put about half in, well, a little more than half. And I'm going to put my garlic in with it, with the oil. Now we're going to turn it on and puree it. It needs more liquid. So I'm going to add the milk. I have 1.5 cups of whole milk. This will help it move around in the blender to puree. Okay. I'm going to add some more cauliflower. This is the last of it. And this time I'm going to add the salt and pepper. I have a teaspoon of salt and I have 1/2 teaspoon of white pepper. And we're going to let that go for a little bit. Now in order to make sure that it's fully pureed, I'm going to pour it into my bowl. Look at that. See how smooth that is? And now we're going to add the part that my family loves. And that is Parmesan cheese. So I have 1 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. You can use more, you can use less. We're going to stir it in and make sure it's fully incorporated, and then we'll have our Alfredo sauce. Oop. It's also the time to catch those little pieces. No, that wasn't cauliflower. That was a chunk of Parmesan cheese. There we are.